The New York City skyline once bore two twin towers, giants of steel columns dressed in mirrors of the sky. They rose higher than all else, yet hidden within their design was prophecy. From their foundation, the towers were more than commerce. They were sigils, pillars of initiation destined for ritual. Jachin and Boaz, resurrected in glass and steel, establishment in strength, reborn as commerce, destined for sacrifice. Every shadow they cast across the Hudson, every reflection of the sun in their windows, every worker who walked between them, all became part of an unspoken rite. These were temples built to be torn down, altars dressed as skyscrapers, instruments prepared for a harvest the world would witness in complete devastation. On the chosen morning, prophecy was fulfilled. The towers became offerings, steel shattered, bodies vanished. It was theater for the masses and a ritual for the initiated. Fear surged across the world like incense rising from an altar. The grief of millions, the panic of nations, the tears of children, all harvested. This was a sacrifice. This was mass sacrifice. The energy of that day was unlike anything the modern world has ever seen. Billions of eyes transfixed on collapsing steel. Emotions that raw, that universal, are never left untouched. They are harvested, collected, and redirected. The rituals fed on it. They sealed it into the architecture of memory. Trauma is the most potent energy of all. It fragments the spirit, divides the memory into compartments, locks pieces of the soul away in darkness. What happened that day became a scar inside the collective mind. Entire generations still carry it. The memory is buried, replayed in silence, compartmentalized to never heal. That is how the harvest continues, through wounds that never close. And to ensure the ritual never dissolved, they sealed the site with cubes, two fountains shaped as inverted abysses, Saturn's geometry, water falling endlessly into darkness, disappearing, returning, looping without end, a cycle of grief made permanent in stone and water. These were not memorials, they were machines, seals of magic designed to contain the offering, to cycle the energy forever. The cube appears everywhere the lords of Saturn hold dominion. In Mecca, pilgrims circle the Kaaba. In Judaism, the Tefillin, small black cubes bound to flesh during prayer. Across city plazas, black cubes stand silent, disguised as art. Even the cross unfolds from the cube, a shape of sacrifice repurposed again and again. These are seals of control, sigils of containment repeated across time. Saturn, the ancient god of harvest and death, wears the cube as his crown. Lord of time, warden of cycles, reaper of sacrifice. To place the cube at ground zero was to bind that day forever to Saturn's dominion. The fountains are more than water. They are portals, locks and prisons of energy harvested through terror. Even the magicians who designed this working revealed themselves through names. Names are never random. To speak them is to invoke their essence. Consider Don-El, today spoken as Donald. Don comes from Dominus, master or lord. El derives from mighty one, or God. Together, they mean Lord God or Master God, a proclamation of dominion hidden within a syllable. To carry that name is to carry a crown. This is how the Magi of darkness move, through architecture, dates, and syllables. These magicians are more than politicians or businessmen. They are ancient parasites wearing human faces. Demons clothed in titles and wealth. Architects of inversion feeding on life by turning it upside down. They are the creators of the world you mistake for reality. An inverted mirror where slavery is sold as freedom, poison is branded as medicine, and war is preached as peace. Their art is inversion, and their hunger is endless. Their nourishment is your blindness. They crown themselves lords of electricity, keepers of the construct. They engineer the very grid you live upon, shaping illusions from shadow, bending spirit into obedience. Ancient parasites who harvest the living. And the media became their priesthood. Every replay of collapsing steel was a chant. Every headline was an incantation. Every broadcast was a hymn to fear. Millions sat frozen, watching smoke billow on endless loop. That repetition was no accident. It was ritual reinforcement. Trauma that carved deeper with every replay. The television became their temple. The screen was their altar. Yet in the middle of the broadcasted sorcery, there were voices who tried to warn us. Bill Cooper, the author of Behold the Pale Horse. Months before the towers fell, he spoke of the plan. He named it. He declared that the stage was set, that an attack would be used to ignite endless war. He revealed the script. Soon after, he was gunned down, assassinated under the veil of law. His life was taken because he tore the mask from the ritual. He was not alone. Others tried to speak, researchers, journalists, ordinary souls who refused silence. Many were mocked, discredited, erased, or buried in mysterious deaths. The message was clear. Truth was forbidden. The ritual demanded silence, and those who broke it paid with their lives. September 11th, the digits themselves are a sigil. 9, the number of sacrifice, endings, and global consciousness. 1 and 1, twin pillars, together 11. Rebirth through destruction. To stamp this day into calendars was to stamp the spell into eternity. That date was chosen, sealed, and branded into the memory of the world. September 11 is no accident. It's a code, a hermetic signature. 24 years have passed, 24 cycles of the sun. The names of magicians still echo, yet illusion fractures. And how do you break it? By calling the ritual what it was. By seeing towers as pillars, fountains as cubes, names as sigils. By purifying the vessel. By fasting, breathing, walking with the earth. When the body clears, fear has no harvest. Trauma no longer feeds the cube. The spell starves. By refusing their theater. By cutting away from screens. Rejecting the chants of fear and silencing priests of media. By remembering who we are, sentient beings of light, children of the living source. 24 years later, their cycle reaches its endgame. What was hidden behind smoke and rubble now stands in plain sight. Their machinery is complete, their surveillance grids, digital chains, and towers of illusion, replaced by networks of control, with corporations like Palantir watching every movement, every transaction, and every breath. 24 years later, their design unveiled in full view. The endgame is no longer approaching, it's here. What they built in shadows now surround you in daylight. The question is no longer theirs to ask, it's yours to answer. In Lakesh.